Hello everyone, coming in live for another chat all about the How to Live and Love Your Brand course and personal brand in general. It always takes a few minutes to get onto these calls. I don't know what happens with interwebs, but something always happens. Hello to Alison, hello Nick, and we're going to welcome right now Alison to join us. Hello. Nick. Hey, Nick. Nice to see you. There she is. Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. It's like, I don't know, the interwebs or the Instagram gods are like, no, you will not go live.
No, I
And
don't
it's
know
like,
what
please,
it's just.
please, please.
I was just trying to find you, and it was telling me nut, 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 nut.
I was
So,
like messaging you on every other channel being like, I'm coming.
oh, that's okay. Look, we're here now. You've got my face in
Yes.
there. See, I've
Yes.
set it straight, but that's all right. So, it's just
Welcome.
started raining down here in Sydney. So, the storms that they have been predicting.
Oh, it's a good time to go live then. Everybody come inside, go on Instagram, message all your friends, tell them to jump on. We're going to be here for half an hour if Alison
Yeah,
will stay with me.
I can talk for that long.
Hello.
You know that.
I know. We'll have to be like, time out, time out. How are you today?
Yes, not too bad. We've had a bit of a lazy Sunday. I mean, we've just got into the flow of it, I suppose, after 4 months of lockdown. So, yeah, Nick went for a run, but it's hot, humid, and the storms were coming. So, I've been reading.
Oh, very nice Sunday. Yes, well, thank you everyone for being here on a Sunday. I know it's probably not the usual day to go live, but I am in the middle of my launch for the How to Live and Love Your Brand course. So I'm showing up every day. And so I'm very thankful to you, gorgeous Alison, for being the Sunday lady.
Yeah, no problems. No problems at all.
Weekend chats.
Look at us.
And I've actually really enjoyed these. So these are going to become one of my regular I don't know, offerings. And so we'll have to have you
Yes.
back again for another time. It's really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. No, it is good fun. And look, I've enjoyed your launch. So it's
Thank you. I'm having fun too. Look what I did.
oh
Got
wow.
my brand colours on my nails.
Yeah.
Taking it to the next level.
I am not even going to begin to tell you the last time my nails saw that level of attention, but I can assure you it was pre-lockdown. So,
Well,
yes.
let's get kicked off. I'm going to ask
Yeah.
you that horrible question that we've been working on for weeks and weeks, but can you tell us who are you and, how do we know each other actually?
Well, I'm Alison Hallworth. I first met you, Emma, when I first became a blog ambassador for World Vision. And obviously we had both been bloggers and whatnot in the past. So, and then, yeah, we've worked on and off various projects for various clients and things like that. And then when you announced that you were launching your personal branding course, This Live and Love Your Brand, I I think you and I have had many conversations over the years. Is that as somebody that works in like marketing, comms, branding, and all the rest of it, I was very good at doing it for customers. I could be quite decisive. I could be quite disruptive. In terms of challenging their thinking and the way they presented themselves to the world. And we've seen some of the people I've worked with have done some really great stuff. But I just wasn't nailing it for myself in terms of how I wanted to promote myself. And in fact, considering how much I talk and what my job is, I definitely wasn't applying the same care to my own brand as I was to other people's brands. And so I basically did have a bit of a, well, effort and see kind of moment. What was the worst that could happen? I always have enjoyed the way you present yourself, very, conscious that everybody does things quite differently and all the rest of it, but you've always, had a great enthusiasm and liveliness and things. So, yeah, and so there I signed up to Live and Love Your Brand.
And it was so wonderful to have you as a course member. And even when I was promoting this, I was having so many wonderful people join for their thanks to you. So welcome everyone coming here to join us with Alison. And, when I was talking about this episode, I guess, of the Instagram Live, talking about sharing your message. And yeah, it's interesting because a couple of the people who've gone through my program have been content creators themselves or
Yeah.
wordsmiths as you are. And so, it's that kind of thing of like, oh, why do you want to do it? But it's it's that thing of you can't see the wood through the trees sometimes. Like you're so in it, you're so in the thick of it. And also, a lot of your creative energy goes to your clients. So when it
Yes.
comes to sitting down and going, okay, let's talk about me and all my stuff, it's like, oh, where do I
Yeah.
start? And it's just, and
Well,
it's really hard to do on your own.
it is very much. And, the really interesting thing is that I think a lot of small, I think there's something inherently anti-Australian about tooting your own horn, blowing your own trumpet, that whole tall poppy thing. Where, I've got some American friends, and I'm always astounded by, if they're good at something, they just say they're good at it. They're not boasting, they're not being boastful, they're not, they're just saying, well, I'm good at this. Why wouldn't I tell you that? How would you know if I didn't tell you? And I've been running my own business now for, well, since the end of 2013, so coming up 8 years. And it's never been a strong point of mine. I consistently deliver. I've worked with hundreds of different businesses, and yet, yeah, just getting out there each week and saying, hey, don't forget about me. I run these courses. I, create content. I'm a copywriter. I write my own stuff. Like I actually create content for myself, on my blog, Talking Frankly, just because I enjoy it, and I've got a lot of, opinions and things like that. But and I work with a lot of small businesses who, I basically, I don't work with anyone who I'm not aligned with, I suppose, kind of in a broad sense, believe in them, or what they do and their, ethics and things. I'm not saying that I agree with everybody 100% all of the time, but about everything. But what I'm saying is I work with really good people who are doing great stuff, and I just really wanted that for myself. And the really interesting thing early on in this program, you didn't make me, you asked me very kindly as part of the homework. And actually, can I just say,
Personal work.
personal work, yeah. So what was really interesting in this group that when we first started it, they were really, all of the women, and it just happened to be all women in this intake that I was in, they were all bloody fabulous and absolutely kicking their own goals. And I thought it was really interesting how some of them were trying to work out the difference between them and their personal brand compared to their business brand, because they, there was a couple of different things that they wanted to do, and for them it was very much, this is my business persona and this is my personal persona. But one of the things I had worked out for myself is that business me and real me, I'm the same. Do you know what I mean? And which, I was actually challenged by Nick Bowditch to put my name a couple of years ago to, why did I always have to have other names? Why couldn't I just be out in the world as Alison Hallworth? And I did that, but very tentatively. And so, while I had been making changes, I'd been kind of making changes and then not telling anybody about it, basically. So
Yeah.
this was a really challenging thing. And one of the bits of personal work that you gave me was the piece about asking other people how they perceive me, because as you talk about in your course, there's, what becomes that official personal brand is that, overlapping circle between how other people see you and how you see yourself. And I was absolutely blown away, by how many people gave me feedback, which was really lovely. But the words that they used were not words necessary, and nobody said anything horrible, which I'm going to take as a win to begin with. But a lot of the words they used, I would have thought they were aspirational for me. So it was a really interesting thing for people to see that people saw me in that light. So that was quite interesting. And but one of the other interesting things is it really resonates with a lot of the, one of the things that I really try to be in life, and I don't always get it right, nobody does, is that I do try to be kind, and I try and treat my clients and their business and their all those kind of things, from a position, of humanity, basically, because that's one of the things everybody has in common, is our shared humanity. And that was something that people kind of recognised, which I I found embarrassing.
And
that
that's
kind,
it's funny, isn't it?
yeah,
It's such
yeah. So
a tough process to go through, but also a lovely, like that first putting it out there and saying, hey, what do you think of me? And not that, what everyone else thinks of you is their own business, and it's not necessarily the be all end all, but often we think things that they don't think. They have this lovely impression of you. They're saying all those things that you want to be. And it's one thing that I, get my clients to say is I am, and it's not,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe it's aspirational, but start saying it. I am
Yeah.
intelligent. I am kind. I am
Yeah.
generous. I am knowledgeable. I
Yeah.
am a whatever you want to be, but nobody's going to argue with you. And actually, they probably already think it, and it's actually you who needs to believe it, not
Yeah.
them. You're
Yeah.
just confirming that, you know, the belief and self-fulfilling prophecy. But one of the
Yes.
other things is saying your name, getting my clients, I make them write it down, you know, and in the course it's I
Yes.
am
You do.
name. And it seems really
Yeah.
obvious. And I
Yeah.
had someone who's similar thing. She had all this branding and all this stuff before, and then after doing the program for a little while, she went to one of her friends and she's like, I am, I'm not going to say her name, but I am my name.
Yeah.
That's my brand. And her friend's
Yeah.
like, how much are you paying this person? It's like, no, no, no. But like she hadn't said that. Like she had all these personas and felt like kind of, I guess, hidden behind a brand that she created or a persona that she created or the business that she had created. And to actually, and you and I did it, you were one of my earliest people that I talked to. It's like you had all the things and Alison was trying to fit underneath them when actually
Yeah.
we should flip it. And
Yeah.
Alison's number one, who happens to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
But we're trying to like fit under the umbrella of all the things and juggle all the titles and the roles in the air when actually, first and foremost, having that I am
Yeah.
name, insert
No.
name.
Yeah. I am
It's a
Alison.
really powerful
Well,
statement.
yeah, it is a really powerful statement. And what was really interesting too, some of the stuff that you had us do in that course right at the beginning, you know, I rolled my eyes out loud, like I really did.
I know.
Like
You tell me after.
I
I
was
love it.
just, I was just like, oh my God, this is not what I was thinking I was getting into. But what I really, in the end, I came to realize that the whole purpose of a lot of that was just to challenge my thinking, you know, and make me think differently about, you know, what a brand could mean and how people came to the process and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, and while at the end, it's not something that I need to incorporate into, you know, my messaging or anything like that. It was an interesting. Well, it was just interesting. I mean, anytime somebody challenges your thinking, like I still, why is it? I mean, I still remember, you know, obviously we've talked about mental health before, and you know, I've lived with depression and anxiety, but when my depression early on, when I had postnatal depression, and I remember speaking to my psych and talking to her, and she was talking about the voices in your head, who they are, you know, and I finally had a bit of a breakthrough, and I remember being in the car with my husband and saying, you know, the voice in my head is X, Y, and Z, and he's just looked at me a bit like your friend, and it's just like, how did you not know that? Like that is that critical voice in your head, you know, that has always been.
Not you.
And yeah, I you know, I have always delighted in that story because I think it really reinforces to others sometimes, to you sometimes, that others are much more forgiving of you, and some things can be a lot clearer to them. You know, particularly with something like, you know, your perception or your brand and things. What was the other thing one of the other things that I really got a lot of value out of actually as part of the of Live and Love Your Brand is I came to see that, and it's probably a hangover of, you know, 20 odd years of corporate life, you know, I kind of had my business thing, and then, you know, talking frankly, because it was more of a passion project, it was something I started to do because, you know, I wanted to write, I wanted to share ideas, I wanted to connect with people and things like that. I kind of thought of it as a hustle or as a side hustle kind of thing, where in actual
Yeah.
fact, you know, I am a writer, right? I am a podcaster, you know, I am a content creator, right? You know, I've written for national papers. I mean, I've been interviewed like countless amount of times, you know, for other people's things, you know, on different things. And I kept none of that because it all just seemed like a nice thing, you know what I mean? So,
Nice.
and so pulling that, pulling ownership of that back to myself was really important as well. That, you know, all of the things that I do are what makes me good at what I do. You know what I mean? Another thing that you did ask us to do as part of that personal work was go back and get testimonials and things from people and see what they say about you, and that was I mean, that was, I try and get testimonials regularly because, as any small business knows, if you don't ask people when you do the work, you've got buckets of getting them to do it later on,
After.
afterwards. They're busy, and that's just the way of it. But reading some of the things that people, and I use my LinkedIn testimonials largely, and I mean, I use them on my website, and, you know, I mean, because they're out there in public. And geez, you know, some of the things that I'm good at, right, they're right there. In terms of like challenging thinking, creative ideas, you know, bringing an extra layer to the table. That, you know, basically there was a few of them I've written, and when we did what she told us to do, we succeeded. We went places, and I was thinking, why aren't I using that more in my marketing? You know what I mean? Like, it's why. But I will be honest, why wasn't I doing my marketing was actually, you know, the thing, which is why this branding course in the end, you know, has just been so valuable for me, because every week when you made us turn up and do the work and all the rest of it, I could see how much I was not tooting my own horn. I mean, that became my expression very much over the last 3 months, as you know.
I loved it.
So,
and it's something I want to bring up. Like, you said it, and I can see someone in here with the name Stroke. Like, you have these causes that you're incredible for. Like, we met through World Vision. You're a blog ambassador. We have this amazing friend, Grace, who you're helping with her not-for-profit. You speak on behalf of this, you know, having been a stroke survivor yourself. You speak about that. Mental health, you know, you will scream from the rooftops about that stuff. But then when it's like, hi, I'm Alison. And if you've written an article, you can confidently say, I've written this article about this thing I care about. But if it's really more the focus on you, you weren't able to do it. And it was so, you had that sort of, I know you probably had realized it before, but it was this aha moment of like, I toot the horn for everyone. I'm a horn tooter, but I'm not a self horn tooter.
No, and I still find it, you know, your course didn't magically cure me, I'll be honest. Like,
no. It's a muscle.
I find it.
It's a muscle, and I wouldn't say to people you're going to be confident. You will have confidence, and you will build confidence, and you will increase your confidence. But the only way you do that is by practicing it. So I always say to people, like, if you think you're going to come and do this course and then go, cool, there's my messaging, put it in a box and never look at it, not going to help you. Which is why people like templates at the end. I'm like, print this and put it on your wall and keep coming back to it. And hearing you before say that I am a writer, I am a content creator, I am creating these things, I am Alison, like that. I just love hearing that. And it's like, sometimes you got to come back to it. And if you're not doing the work, if you're not willing to do the work, don't, you know, bye-bye now.
No.
If you don't have commitment, you're not going to get a result. We're here for no reason. And if you're not going to continue doing the work, I mean, this is me doing the work. I'm showing up.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. You're practicing what you preach, even when it's not necessarily convenient, etc. One of the other things, actually, just on that, I actually think that one of the things I've become increasingly comfortable with over the years is being uncomfortable, if that makes sense. With you know, so I might never get comfortable or, you know, feel innately confident about this horn tooting, living and loving my brand, but I will do it because, you know, I've seen the benefits even in the short time, you know, I've been working with you. You know, some people have come to me, you know, not all work you pitch for you get. That's just what it is. But I'm much clearer about what I really want to be doing and not doing. And, you know, and I mean, the three things for me is obviously content creation of any kind, obviously words, but whether I'm writing them, talking about them, making you think about them, you know, all of the rest of it. I do love that strategic piece, you know, pulling all the strategy together for an organisation and just getting them to realise that they actually know what they're doing, you know, and obviously we're talking about social strategy there, but it's so much of what, you know, we talk about in this, you know, this course is, you know, how are you connecting with your brand? What purpose is it serving? You know, why do you want people to know about you? What should their messaging be? You know, what kind of community are you creating? You know, what's their perception, etc. It's all that stuff that, you know, you've just made me do. You know, I've been doing for years for others, and I quite enjoy. But of course, you know, and I always love that mentoring and training piece as well, because I love the aha moments.
I'm just being the mirror. You know, like I just hold up the mirror for people, and it's so funny when we do the hi Jenny, one of our fellow course members. It's so funny when I'm doing the messaging with people and they'll be like, oh, this line came out, or I'll say something back to them and they're like, oh wow, that's really great. I'm like, you literally said that. I
Yeah.
have it written down. You wrote it down.
Yeah.
You know, that came from you. And that's the thing about with this personal brand. It is you and it's
Yeah.
in you. It's already there,
Yeah.
but we lose sight of it. Or like I gave yesterday the example, and it's on my website, in my blog, of the dirty mirror. Like you're looking in a dirty mirror, you're not seeing yourself clearly. You can't, with all the roles and titles and layers and things that have come, like your vision is not clear of yourself. So
Yeah.
I'm the cloth. I clean the
Yeah.
mirror for you, you know, really just so you can see who you are again and feel comfortable in that. And one thing you said that's really interesting, I think when we're talking about personal branding, one of the first questions or comments I get is, oh, I don't want to be an influencer, or I don't want
Yeah.
to, you know, I don't want to be a speaker, or I don't want to be famous, essentially. And it's like, look, you have a brand already, whether you like it or not. But one of the things that this confidence building and this knowing who you are and being comfortable with your message and how to present yourself, is actually just putting yourself forward. And I
Yeah.
know for something with you is like you're such a great, again, ambassador and advocate for other people. But it's like if a job offer came up or a work opportunity came up, it's like going, yeah, I'm the great one who's going to kick
Yeah.
ass in that contract.
Yeah.
Hi, I would like to do that work. And one of my
Yeah.
clients, though she's not putting out as much online, she emailed 3 people directly, or 3 businesses directly, and said, hello, here I am. I can do work
Yeah.
with you. And they all said yes.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
wouldn't have done that before, you know, like, you know, the putting yourself forward is
Yeah.
another element of this work. It's not just all social media. It's how you
Oh
come across
God, no.
in your email, how you come across when you're in a room with people, how you actually just feel about yourself, so you have that confidence to go, yeah, I am
Yeah.
whatever I want to be. I am doing whatever I want to be doing, and I'm really good at it. And so
Yeah.
why wouldn't you work with me
Yeah. Yeah.
or hang
Well,
out with
that's
me, whatever it is?
yeah, whatever it is. One of the things that was really useful actually in the course was that I had to do the work each week. Like it's one of those things. I always think I'll do that as an online course, or um, I'll do it differently. If I do the course, I'll follow it in my own time and all the rest of it. But because I had to be, I had to turn up, and all the women in that course were just amazing. So people were doing some really great work, bringing things. It was really nice to workshop some of the ideas and things. But it does mean that now, post course, I've actually, I've started doing some things, like I've revamped my website a little bit. I'm starting to put my own content plan together, all those kind of things. Like, and when I say content plan, I'm not just always talking about social, but I'm talking about I need to get back to doing the emails. What am I doing about the resources that I've developed that I haven't actually given to anybody? Et cetera, et cetera. So it's just some of that, bits and bobs. So, I definitely got a lot of value out of it. But but as I said, I suppose if it had been, as I said, that first meeting when, we were doing some of the stuff, which, as I said, I feel is more on the woo side. What I found that really useful is all that work that we did in that first, and, all those different kind of activities, I suppose, that you challenged us to think about this or think about that. And then we all had to write everything down. It was towards the end of the course that I started going back to some of those words, because those words weren't the right words. And as you always say, done is better than perfect. But what they were really good is that they explored different elements of,
You.
what I loved, and what I didn't. And so they were kind of useful. And, creativity, communication, and connection are the 3 things that, I kept coming back to. I enjoy that creativity, I enjoy communicating, and obviously I enjoy connecting. Warning to everybody, if I do see you in the next week, you will be hugged. I'm allowed to do that now.
Touched
Yes, that's going to
and
say,
spoken to.
that's right. That's right. All those friends of mine that didn't buy their Not a Hugger t-shirt last time around should get back on the website and get those.
That's something, it's really interesting. I started to describe it at the end. I realized that it's like a maths problem. I don't know if people remember high school maths. You didn't always just get a mark for the final answer. You had to show the working. You had to show how you came to the result in order to get the marks. And the same with this. It's like, and it's why I don't work with people in one-off sessions. If people come to me and say, I want to do one coaching with you, I say no, because we won't get anywhere really. I can do a very, very quick, say, oh, like, I can see this and this and this going on. But like it takes time to go through and have a look at where you are, what's being said about you, how you're feeling about yourself. You potentially 25 years of experience in work, let alone the person that you come to be, which could be however many years you've been living.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
how can we unpack all of that? How can we dig into that in an hour? It's
Yes.
why I think Leisha, who was in the course, really loved the layering, and the same with, that start, you sort of go, okay, well, all right, I'll do it. And thank you for trusting me. At the start, why are we doing this? All right, I'll do it, I'll play along. But at the
Yeah.
end, yeah, you do. You go, oh, all of these steps, all of this digging, all of this discovery is so that I could get to the answers.
Oh,
And
look,
you can't do that without getting a
yeah,
little bit vulnerable and doing the work.
yeah. I ended up with more focused messaging for me to be able to use in my self promotion and the promotion of what I do in that 3 months, and I've managed to pull together in the last 8 years, because I can procrastinate like the best of them. And in the end, it was always, you end up so much, that's that working in the business rather than on the business, so it really forced me to work on the business, and your brand is a core part of that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and yeah, so yeah, no, I mean, I make no bones about it. I really enjoyed it, and I really got a lot out of it. But as I said, I'm really glad that I didn't try and justify it to myself at the beginning, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
because I think I think I would have just talked myself out of it to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Like, if I make this kind of investment, what's it going to, what's the payout going to be? How do I blah, 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 blah. For an actual, I mean, look, I'm a big believer in come and see what happens, right? It's worked out for me a lot of the time, sometimes less well, let's be fair, but mostly it turns out okay. And, yeah, and I don't know, it's just given me a bit more of it's given me some of the joy back in my business, I suppose, which is really nice, because sometimes it can be a bit, well, you know what it's like working for yourself. Sometimes it can be a really hard slog, and the fact that I'm enjoying my business after 4 months, and because it has been a hard slog, I mean, of course, I love my children. It's nice to be with them 24/7, but I cannot tell you how much I'm enjoying them going back to school in a few weeks, mainly, of course, for their own socialisation. They've missed their friends and teachers and things like that, but also it's just to give me some space to just focus on me and my business and things like that. So,
and I think that that's what time has, and the way I usually work with people is that they've gone through a transition or a transformation, and that's been the trigger as to why they're feeling like not disconnected, or they're like, okay, things have changed in my world, I need to get back out there, I need to put myself forward, I haven't been. And so I say, it could be through change of job, it could be through, marriage ending, it could be having children, it could be children leaving the home, it could be retiring, it could be starting your own business, it could be, I don't know, a pandemic,
Yeah.
But like something has made you feel a bit disconnected from your identity, or just like, where do I even start putting my message out there? And that whole, like, who wants to hear from me anyway? How would I say it? Oh, I just won't bother. And so
Yeah.
it is that investment in yourself. And the thing as well is that I'd say to people, yeah, you're going to do the 8 weeks, and yes, you're going to see, you're going to have a journey over that time, and you will come out of it, I guarantee, with things, but you're not going to be fixed, and you're not going to be finished. Because this is you, it's ongoing.
Yeah.
But sometimes, but when you do in the future get knocked off course, or feel that little bit of like, oh, what am I doing? What am I saying? How am I saying it? How am I going to put my message out there? You've then got the tools and strategies. Like, you've got all this work that you've done, all those resources, which I give people lifetime access to, and to go back to and go, what did we do? Or how did I do that again? What was the exercise that we did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You definitely be revisiting it.
What did you say? Those nice words about me.
Yeah.
Let's do that one again.
Well, and one of the things, as I said, just talking a bit about that, feeling uncomfortable about it. You and I have a mutual friend in Dan Colley of Your Good Life. And she, a couple of years ago, did a major shift from what she was doing, shifted, relaunched, her personal brand, and, just repositioned herself entirely and all the rest of it. And, I mean, she's going great gangbusters, right? Which she fully deserved to do all along. But I remember talking to her very early on about the year of earnest, right? Because I honestly feel that anybody, and you did it when you first launched it, the personal branding
In-person
element
branding.
of it, yeah, is because it's all new to you. It everyone's like super earnest. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, it's almost like a little bit when kids start school. They just so um, they're learning their new language, they're learning the rules and how it's all working and falling into, so every time they talk about something, they talk about it as if you've never thought about it before or whatever. And then it just becomes the way that you don't have to be so earnest about it anymore because you're comfortable with the language that you put around your new experience, if that makes sense. And some people, say with Dan, like some people, they were so comfortable with her kind of old persona. Um, they weren't as comfortable into the direction she's moving, but she was just becoming more fully herself. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was just a wonderful thing to see.
And that's okay, right? Like they're just not
Oh,
your audience. And I think we have
yeah,
this thing, and I just flip it on people. Like they're like, but what if people don't like me? And it's like, do you like everyone? Do you want to
yeah,
talk to everyone?
yeah.
No.
Well,
So
yeah,
everyone's
mine
not going to
is,
like you.
yeah,
And it's
mine is
okay.
always, it can take, mine is always the pineapple analogy. When you think about the way you present your business to anybody, and I talk about this in social because of the way you chunk up your business, which is basically a pineapple. Some people like it in a pina colada, some in a juice, some in a fruit salad, some on a burger, some on a pizza. Everyone consumes pineapple differently. And then somebody will always say to me, and it's always management, well, what if they don't like pineapple? Well, I was like, who wants to speak to somebody that doesn't like pineapple? Like, it's
You
just
just
not,
get out.
yeah, not my people. Yeah,
Everybody
so
is now sitting here going, oh, pina colada would be nice. Oh, I do like
yeah.
pizza.
Yeah, yeah, I must
Focus.
admit, I was just thinking, I should have had lunch. Focus. Yeah, that burger, pineapple, egg, beetroot. Yes, no, it's fine. So, yeah, anyway, so,
I love it.
yeah,
The pineapple. You'll have to write that one for me. That's so good
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's that
no,
scary thing. And when people go, oh, but what if I don't say it right? I don't. And I said, well, one, it's you, so you can't get it wrong because it's about you.
no,
But
yeah,
two, it is a little. I call it, it's the year of Venice. I say it's just a little clunky. Like it's going to
yeah,
come out. And there were times where when I was first, shifting. So I've been through this. I'm not sitting up here in my ivory tower. I've been
no,
through this, and I go through it. And even launching this course is like you have to put a lot of words around it. And so you're
yeah,
like, okay, well, how do I say it? So I have to go do this exercise constantly.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And sometimes it does come out a little bit, one of my friends, I love her dearly. She went through my sales page. I said she got 50 minutes of voice memos because she had
oh,
taken
wow.
it very seriously and gone through. And I love her. And I was like, I don't have time right now to make all these changes, but thank you. I will listen. But I also said I do also recognize that it's not the perfect language, and there's always room for improvement. But done
Yeah,
is me holding back until that page was ready, me holding back until this course has every single thing that I ever wanted to have. There's so many things I want to do with it. Holding
yeah,
that back and not getting the opportunity to work with people like you, like even launching it, I was like, oh, and what if because the way we worked together was through a pilot, and I could
yeah,
have gone, oh no, but it's not ready, and I want to do this whole thing. It was that was like 8 months after I originally wanted to launch it. So what was I going to
yeah,
wait another 8 months or wait another year until I had all the bits and
yeah,
bobs?
yeah, yeah. No,
Sometimes you've got to do things before you're ready, and
yeah,
then actually the audience tells you, like, you all tell us what you want. Sometimes
yes.
your audience will put the words around it that you don't have.
Yeah, no, that's very, and it was interesting actually because things like revisiting my website and how often do I go to my website and see what I've done with it, and I'm like,
Next
yeah,
question.
yeah. So, but I did update it before this just so that you could see that I did some of the work.
Gold
People
star.
pleaser. I was going to say people pleaser from way back,
I think you said
but
People Places Anonymous, and I was like, well,
yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a great group. People should join it,
I'll just
please.
open it
But
up
yeah,
quickly. We'll stay for another couple of minutes. Does
yeah,
anyone have any questions or comments? Like, by the way, when you're watching these guys, you can always put comments. If you're watching back the replay, you're also welcome to comment, and I can send you a message or jump on the phone or, get in touch with Alison because she's amazing, and her
thank you.
Instagram will be on here. But are there any comments, questions? Uh-huh. moments.
Yes, but thank you. I've just noticed, actually, I was deliberately not looking at my own screen. I was just looking at your face but yeah, there are some people that have joined, which are very lovely, that I know from around abouts. So
Yeah. You
yeah,
know what's been fun on these lives too is like each one, it's like revealed something new about me. And actually it made me very emotional. I cried on my stories the other day because my mum and dad joined my webinar,
yeah, they
and
did.
just like as soon as I got off, it was like, people showing up for you, and
Yeah,
just listening. And I'm so grateful everyone here. You're here on a Sunday, and they said afterwards, I know you well, you're our daughter,
yeah,
but I learned new things about you. And so yes,
yeah,
you revealed that I was a World Vision blog ambassador. I spoke
yes.
Spanish on my one yesterday, so
There you
it's fun
go.
revealing these little things about yourself. And what I love in the course is that people, because you don't have that time to reflect upon yourself. It's a really nice time to reflect and be like, oh yeah, I did that. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm really good at that. Oh wow, I won that award. And just
yeah,
because it was in the past doesn't mean that it contributed to who you are now. And it can
yeah,
teach you lessons now. And so I love one of my clients, she actually talks about when she climbed to Everest Base Camp, and she relates that back to her business. It's like we
yeah,
can bring things from our life and from our life experience and from our world that can then actually help someone else or relate back to what we're trying to teach them in business.
yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely.
Like pineapple.
So pineapple. Well, yeah. I
I think
actually
the
first used
takeaway
that.
from this is that we all need to go and get a pina colada.
Yeah. Have something to eat. It made me think that I'm hungry. So yes, but
Hashtag pineapples, hashtag personal brand. Everyone's going to
that's
be like,
right. Yeah.
synonymous.
Hashtag as
I'm going
pals.
to thank you so much. Okay, please do. How can we connect with you, Alison?
Well, you can obviously connect with me at Talking Frankly with Alison on Facebook, Hallworth Alison on Instagram and Twitter, and alisonhallworth.com.au, which is my website. So, and obviously, if you know of anyone that needs any kind of content training, etc., send them my way, please.
Loved it. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you all of you for joining and staying on
yeah.
here and spending your Sunday with us. Go get yourselves a pina colada and
It's
send us
Sunday
back a
session
photo.
time. Yes. All
Dance in
righty.
the rain.
That's, yeah, very definitely. There's thunder, lightning, very, very frightening. So, yeah, no,
You
thanks,
will
Em,
be
for
back.
having me. Oh, we
Yeah,
don't. But thanks for
you're
having
going to be
me.
like my monthly guest.
I can talk about anything, you know that. Anything except sport. Except sport. Do not get
Okay,
me on for that. Yes.
I will
All
not.
right.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye,
darling.
beautiful.
Take care. Bye.